Greetings, mortals, and welcome back to the Blindness of Eternity. When last we left off, we had just fought a very long battle with a group of cultists, and we managed to win, which means that we're now in position to continue exploring the place, and hopefully there won't be any more enemies, and we can just loot the place and leave.
No problem.
Hopefully there won't be any more traps that I can't detect. That would be crappy. Whether by design or by consequence of the sputtering candlelight, the hooded figure's face is almost impossible to see. This is a Torque of Defiance. Ooh, plus 10 defense against Charmed, Confused, and Dominated. And plus 10 to concentration. Only usable by rangers. Very interesting. So we'll give that to her.
Eh?
Oh, I clicked on it there.
Ready, Watcher.
It's an interesting item. And this doesn't have any particular unique description. I'm actually going to give him this instead. Never mind. I'm actually just going to give the ring protection to her. She's more likely to
No
need
problem.
it. So, there we go. So that's a secret passage. Devotees have placed assorted keys, their teeth filed away among the funnel. Since we did not find a door here, I am actually going to take this key. Because I don't know what this key is going to be to, and it's going to be important, I think. And it's also a lead key. This cult is called the lead key.
My eyes are
isn't it?
peeled.
Let's see where this goes. This goes to... This is a place we haven't been to yet. We're in First Fires. So we've already been here, or we've already, like, explored to reach this place. It's the Crucible Keep.
I shall be quiet as a calm sea,
Oh, there's a ghost here.
which is not very quiet.
Come to pay your respects to the queen that was.
Interesting. Okay, go 3, I guess.
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Woodaka watches over them all. Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Woodaka is also goddess of memory and vengeance. And she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
It's truly a pity to see what the locals have done to the Woodka's house of worship.
Lord Ardwellen Rugfold III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia. And unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
Can you go to number 4?
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
Forget it.
I really must return to Adia. Worshipping Woodaka, the exiled queen and Oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my Emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands. And so I do.
Okay. Well. Weeds grow thick and full, untroubled by the passage of care. So, let's see. We are not terribly healthy right now. I think I'm gonna go to unlock this Andra's gift place. I think let's take a look at our stronghold groups. See what we have. This will finish on turn 10. So, where's our thing that we're doing? 14 hours. It would be nice if the things that you're currently doing showed up at the top. So we can now get to that. Can we get to Heritage Hill from here? Yes, we can. So this is like a centralized area that we can get to everywhere from. This is a tower. So this place probably has the Visions of Madness, because that was among the wealthy stuff. So that's really cool that we managed to unlock that. So I think I'm gonna pop back to Caed Nua. Actually, should I? No, I don't think I should. Because I need to complete another quest in order to... Below, Time and Tide. I am going to talk to both of these guys. I've been asking myself if I was a murderous secret society in Dyrwood, what would I do? But none of my ideas are very good. Number 5.
Woden was about everything you'd want your firstborn son to be. Dutiful, honest, put thought into everything he did. Real pain in my ass. Made me look bad about every way he could. It wasn't something he tried to do, but of course that just makes it worse. Not that he didn't get into trouble himself. He was just better about feeling guilty after. But we used to have this farmer near us, Hereward. Couldn't stop talking about how well he cared for his chickens. How their feathers were the whitest in town. Convinced the butcher to pay him double what the other farmers got. Me and Woden got tired of hearing it. I was maybe 11, 12 at the time. We borrowed about 6 different dyes from the dyer one night. Dyed Hereward's chickens every color but white. Next morning, the butcher comes knocking, asking for 6 of his whitest chickens. We were feeling great, up until Hereward saw what we'd done. He just got on his knees and cried right there. All those colorful chickens around him, not knowing what to make of it. I thought it served him right, but I could tell Woden had other thoughts. Sure enough, the next day, every one of those chickens had been scrubbed down. They weren't white, mind you, but Woden sure tried. Never said a word to me about it, but I knew. That was Woden. My parents, they always let us be who we were. Never told me to be more like him or anything like that. Which was good, because I was never gonna. What's on your mind?
Eh?
Interesting stuff.
What?
Talk to him a little bit. Okay, never mind, I don't have
Yeah.
any questions for him. Let's see here. I think we're gonna go to Copper Lane and rest in the inn. There. We'll see what our available options are. Cause ouch.
I could go for some shut-eye about now.
Everybody's tired, we're almost dead. And it just seems like a good idea. Oh, well,
You must gather your party before venturing
we've already
forth.
unlocked Brackenbury, but we're gonna unlock this route to Brackenbury because of the way that, at least the original Baldur's Gate handled travel. It allows you to get to places faster. You asked me for one and I said no, not until you're older and more responsible. Do you remember this conversation? Yes, sir. And yet I find you out here playing with a blade that clearly belongs to the Knights. Do you see the problem? I didn't steal it honest. I traded a secret for it. Ask her. Code number 1. He stares at you for a moment, then shakes and says, well, I still don't approve of my boy having a weapon, but I'm glad he's no thief. You can keep the blade, but I'll be holding on to it until you're a squire with the Knights. Come on, Gordy. I won't have you loitering out here all day. Nice. He got in trouble. So yeah, it turns out he isn't an urchin. I figured he was an urchin. Not the case. Let's see if that hurts our reputation. No, not really. Alright, let's go talk to Bishop.
Hail, traveler.
So, +1 athletics and +1 mechanics. I like the athletics, actually. I like both of these stats, so I think this is good thing to do. Let's go to the shop portion. Head to our stash. We don't need multiple novices with Morris. And we actually have a bunch of armor that I forgot to sell. There we go. Boom. And we can sell all of these. There we go. We are now rich. And he has roughly 1 million things in his inventory now. And let's see. So we're gonna rest at the Fletcher's Stay. Get our mechanics raised. Oh, that's so nice. Everybody's fully healed. Everybody's so healthy. Okay, so rewards 500 to 1,000 copper and treasure. Average reputation bonus finishes up turn. Okay. Oh, never mind. I thought that was done already. Oh.
Eh?
I found it strange that it would be done. But no, that just indicates the total number of them that there are. They're not.
Your brother. Did you and he get along?
We got along how brothers do. He used to throw water on me to wake me up in the morning. I used to fill his boots with stinging ants.
My own brothers and sisters are doing very well for themselves, back in Takoa. I don't know that they'd search for me if I were killed so far from home.
Brothers can be funny. I bet you'd be surprised how far they'd go.
Indeed.
Yes, right away.
Alright, so we're gonna pop to First Fires, I guess. Or where we just were. So here's Deerford. They're doing something there. I think that I'm gonna do as much as I can in this city first, though.
You're from Gilded Vale? Then you're close to home.
Close can mean a lot of things.
Surely you'll go back when this is all over.
Dunno. Guess that all depends.
So let's pop in this place, see what there is to do here. So this is a named person.
Gods keep you.
Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. It keeps us busy on the watch. It does. It looks like you recently arrived yourself. I'm gonna go with number 3, I guess. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver I said that. We were the first organized militia to oppose Aediran rule, and today we're the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have souls read by a critter out in Dunred Row. Dunred Row? Just a requirement of the Crucible Knights, so the higher-ups know there's nothing messy built in your soul's past. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish they were more careful in hiring their ciphers. What's wrong with those ciphers? They're mostly Orlans. I'm sure they're talented enough, but you can't trust them. Hostility is in their nature, and they've learned to hide it over the years. All I'm saying is they should be at least supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? There we go, number 4. Just speaking the truth, nowadays it seems that's the biggest crime of all. Oh my god, this is like every modern racist. This is what they say. Oh, I'm just telling the truth. They're predisposed toward aggression. I think maybe they just are aggressive with you because you're a douche. Anyway, we go number 2. This is the headquarters of the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor as well as many of our soldiers' blood. Commander Cliver's in the back, making plans as usual. You'll find the forge at the west end of the building, along with our master smith Dunstan. There's also a shrine to the Golem if you're the praying type. There's a Golem? Soldier of the Crucible Knights and proud of it. I help keep everything running at the keep so the Commander Cliver can focus on important matters. Okay, so we're done with him. That would be stealing. That would also be stealing. Hey Dunstan, how's it going?
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
Oh! I'm gonna go with number 1, I guess? That's a fine blade indeed. Looks Adiran, special made. Must have been commissioned for a champion of some sort. Sword of this caliber would have been specially designed, hilt too. It would be a shame to graft anything else onto it, and besides, it'll balance best with all of its original pieces. You find the rest of it and I'll forge it for you. Cool.
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too. We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force, though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineages and connections to the Deerwood's heroes of old. Other than Dunred Rowe, who really knows about any of that, though? Tongs, hardies, hammers, fullers, and surfaces. So, tongues of flame. Ooh, hot as dragon's breath. We know what that feels like. It's annoying. The young novitiate's armor is recently shined and his hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever seen battle or that the scarred antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Go with number 3. We don't take just anyone. Our members share soul legacies with the very men and women who defended this land for a century and a half ago. Anyhow, Commander Cliver is responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. Go 2. We're the primary defenders of Defiance Bay. The Order's founders were the first to rally for Deerwood and independence. Of course, that's ancient history by now. Now we're the most prestigious company of soldiers in Deerwood. It's a glorious line of work. If you can forget about the barracks, that is. Let me go with number 1. If you've got any self-respect, you won't associate with him or any of his new friends at the Expedition Hall, for that matter. Scamps and delinquents, a lot of them. Is that his breastplate you're wearing? It was. It became property of the Crucible Knights when he was discharged. Now it's mine. And it's not for sale, if that's what you're wondering. Not every day you find armor that was used in the rebellion. Wow. This guy's like a totally unrepentant douche. I'm gonna go with number 1. Osric has always held some controversial opinions, but they went overlooked for the longest time because his family has such an extensive history of service to the Crucible Knights. He finally went too far. He had the gall to suggest that we had strayed too far from our roots and that some of our officers were beginning to resemble Adir nobility. He rubs a spot on his bracer with a silk handkerchief. Yeah. He would have us all wear rough spun and fight with forge hammers. I merely reported his statements. I'm gonna go with number 1. People change, organizations change. The Crucible Knights began as a militia of blacksmiths, but Dunstan's one of the only officers that can wield a hammer these days. We're professional soldiers. Isn't that who you want defending a city? Besides, a novitiate has no business maligning his superiors. Let's see. I don't really like either of these options. I mean, I don't really know enough about the Crucible Knights to really... Let's see. I'm actually going to go with number 3, mostly because Aldrea is a blacksmith and a soldier, and those are both critically important to her. So I think I'm going to go with number 3. We've outgrown that past. Sometimes you need to move on. Outgrown it like an old sealskin coat? You adapt to the times, sure, but that's a bit naive. I can't actually... What? It's bringing me back to the same thing. I'm gonna agree with him and disagree with him simultaneously? I quite agree, that's why Osric has no place here. I'm gonna go with number 2. Just what would he know about that? It's perfectly convenient for him to cast aspersions with his pedigree in the Knights. It's a lie, of course. So let's see here. So I can find it in Crucible Keep somewhere. There's a record of the active patrols and reported crimes in Andra's gift. The letters far outnumber the former. Let's see. Penhelm's affidavit. Curran, a cipher duly appointed and employed by Dunrid Row, does hereby certify that Novitiate A.M. Penhel has been found to have a soul free of any subversive influences or tainted essence. So let's go ahead and pop over here. Of course, everything else is stealing. Whoops. Did not intend to do that. I'm tempted to just start picking locks and see whether picking locks causes a problem, or if it's only if I actually steal something. This painting shows a row of warriors standing atop the walls of Defiance Bay while Adir's ships sail away. Daily affirmations of focus and efficiency. Let's see if we can... Take a look. Oops. Sorry. This is a symbol of Abaddon, the colossal smithing hammer imposed over a circular gear. It's smooth and bright with buffing oils. Save this.
We just don't have the manpower. Refugees from every corner of the Deerwood. The dozens getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, we'll need twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay. Yes? Can I help you with something?
I'm gonna go number 1.
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates, and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Hailmar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
I'm gonna go with number 2. More recruits means more training, which means more time and experienced soldiers that I don't have. Anyway, I hardly see how this is any of your concern, but if you've got time to ask me about it, then perhaps you've got time to do something constructive. Forge Master Dunstan is working with the Animancy Scholar to build what we're calling Forge Knights, warriors that can patrol our streets without suffering fatigue, disobedience, or fear. Some agitator throws a rock at them, we don't have to worry about things getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor, but we need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she hasn't been around the last few times my novitiates have checked. Fiona lives in the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to the Scrivener's dormitory and see if you can find her. When you get the research, just bring it to Dunstan. This is his area of expertise anyway. Once you've brought him the research, he can sell you any arms or armor if you need. He forges and repairs all of our equipment. You'll find a more capable smith in Defiance Bay. I'm gonna go to number 2. We're the only professional army in Defiance Bay, or in Deerwood for that matter. We defended the city in Hadred's day. We've improved our training since then, but Dunrid Row can certify that many of our officers come from good Deerwood and fighting stock. Now we're responsible for patrolling the city and keeping the peace. With so many refugees pouring in from the countryside, that's become more and more important than ever. Unfortunately, that's earned us enemies, particularly amongst the dozens and some of the more enterprising families in Defiance Bay. Go number 1. They're demagogues and troublemakers. They forget that Defiance Bay is one of the largest cities in the world and not some frontier outpost. Most of them are mercenaries on a good day and street thugs the rest of the time. Needless to say, they've no patience for law and order. House Dominal, namely, they're one of the city's oldest noble families and its largest criminal organization. Their patriarch Gedmar has been trying to take advantage of the turmoil to expand operations. We've kept on top of him and he hasn't been too happy about it. Interesting. Here in Defiance Bay, anyhow. The High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed in Fleetbreaker Castle. My job is to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay and keep order for the Duke.
Eh?
Don't last. Golems seem like they could be somewhat dangerous to utilize here. Edict of Arrest. This edict calls for the arrest of Aorn, whose recent actions have led to the death of the Knight of the Crucible. It requests reporting any information to Justiciar Aldmar to sign Commander Cliver. Interesting. We're gonna go talk to that guy. Because we just saw him. He was down in the catacombs. So okay, I'm not gonna go talk to this Alban guy because I don't know whether, or Aldmar rather, because I don't know whether that guy is legitimately. Then again, never mind. We found that thing on him, so we're just gonna turn him in immediately. we found the thing that indicates that he's one of the cultists, so we're just gonna say hi to Alvar. Okay, I have information about Aorn. Aorn, you said? Well, what became of him? I'm gonna go with number 1. I see, I'll send a unit down to the catacombs and see him. What do you mean, see to him? Was that subtle? I suppose you're new here. Aorn got his little Orlan fingers in a few too many pies, if you ask me. A man of politics and with plenty of lousy friends. Better all around if it goes nice and quiet and Aorn gets the end he deserves. Politics for you. We've done the Crucible Knights a real service tracking him down. Here, something for your troubles. You have our thanks, friend. We don't forget a favor. Interesting. Very interesting. So, never trust a politician. Very interesting. Got his hand in a few too many pies. So I wonder why he was hiding out in the catacombs.
I've never... What creatures wander the tundra? How are your leaders chosen?
Do you always ask this many questions?
Well, that's just to get us started. Let me get out some parchment for notes.
Ask whatever you want. If I don't know, I'll make something up.
If I don't know, I'll make something up. I like it. So, here's a question. Looks like that didn't advance me to the next thing, because it was a task, not a quest. I'm gonna go back to Copper Lane. I'm actually gonna go take a look and see whether that guy's still in there. Because if we can warn him that they're coming for him, that might be a good idea. Oh, we just gained enough experience to level up. I'm not going to reload for that because I made the decision to not get more information, and I'm just going to have to live with that decision. Passionate? Apparently I got passionate for saying that's horrible. Well, they found him. Crit multiplier bonus 10%. Interesting. Rabbit fur gloves appeared in Adiran fables and bedtime stories for hundreds of years, typically as lucky gifts to individuals of particular virtue. The gloves were first mentioned in a bedtime story about a girl who, in the midst of famine, gave a piece of fruit to an elderly crone. The old woman in turn gave rabbit fur gloves to the girl, and though it was summer, she accepted them graciously. She wore them and managed to forage enough to feed her family, and a few short seasons later, she became a hunter of uncanny skill. In other stories, the gloves are given to brave warriors, hard-working servants, and honest shopkeepers. The last story to mention the gloves is that of the notorious pickpocket Sandarin who lost them when he stole an apple from a Weisenville crone. Although the gloves appear to be sewn from the fur of different rabbits, there's no detectable seam between the many-colored pelts. They're soft and cozy, yet when you put your hands in them, your fingers still feel quick and nimble. A rabbit's foot dangles from the left glove, and their natural warmth suggests the presence of essence. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put those on Aldrea. So sad. Okay, so random dude got killed. We have 8 points to spend. We will put some of them in mechanics and some of them in lore. So we have the next set of things to get. Let's rapid recovery do. Recovers endurance. %of hits converted to crits against targets with low endurance. Plus 0.5 to crit damage multiplier against targets with low endurance. This is actually really good, because regardless of whether you are actually... Let's see... 20% increase to melee damage and a -5 to accuracy is actually pretty dang good. So I think I'm going to get Savage Attack first, and then I'll get the other thing later. Because 5 accuracy is substantial, but it's not a 20% substantial. So let's do this. So she will now be even more offensively focused. And that'll turn out well. Okay, so I assume I assume that I got passionate because of the comment of "that's horrible." So let's see. Oh, dungeon's construction complete. Cool. Now, what are we going to purchase next? We have some extra defense relative to our other stuff. I'm thinking I'm going to go with a Bailey. This will allow me to build all the rest of the buildings. So what buildings will that allow me to make? A forum. Training grounds. Botanical garden. Hedge maze. Yeah, so that'll allow me to build some good stuff. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna build a Bailey. We'll be done in 2 days. Gonna save the game. We are going to level him up. It's going to get point in stealth, I guess. Might as well. And he needs some new thing. Hold the line isn't a bad idea. +6 shield deflection. Shield deflection bonus also applies to reflex. And so that would mean that he'd end up with a +22 to his reflex. I think that's probably what we're going to go with. This will give him less deflection overall. Okay, so let's do this. Weapon and shield style, 6 deflection, and we're gonna get +22 of the other stuff from that. Ooh, and he has something to say for me.
Strange place for a shrine to Abidan, Crucible Keep. Maybe it made more sense at some point before it gathered all that dust. And the only thing the Knights of the Crucible worship these days is the nobility, as far as I understand it.
I knew some soldiers who got recruited by the Knights after the war was over. They told me about it. They get these young kids in there and they tell them about blacksmithing, about revolution and tradition. Talk about the golem like he created the Crucible Knights in his forge to go win Deerwood's independence. Then they join and it turns out all any of those knights ever talk about it is when are we going to get recognized as a real knighthood? When are we going to get titles in our land? Their High Justice wants to be an earl, says it's Abaddon's will. He's got a castle and an army. You wonder how long he'll wait before he starts a war over it, saying Abaddon told him to. And the nobles will respond that their gods told them they're the only true nobles. Trouble with having all these gods is you gotta support no matter how dumb your ideas are. Maybe we got the right idea blowing some of them up. Less of them to hide behind.
Eh?
Yeah, that's how you handle it. So as for him, he's had his athletics raised to the point that it needs to be. So we're just gonna give him some more lore. Actually, you know what? There's not really much reason to give him more lore. So let's just keep giving him athletics. Interdiction. Pro AoE, 8 to 12 burn versus... Ooh, so we could do this. Yeah, let's do it. Let's give him Brilliant Radiance. So this will deal burn damage to all enemies. It's not a lot of damage, but you know, it's AoE. Let's see, so head back to First Fires. And we need to figure out where these people are. I guess I probably should have looked. Let's see. Hunter's Gift, Ducal Palace, Valiant Embassy. Actually, Heritage Hill is on the ocean. I'm gonna head to Heritage Hill. This is possibly where the person was. It's not terribly likely, but it's possible. Best turnaround traveler, Heritage Hill is closed. Really? And that's interesting, these two just leveled up. So, guess who's getting 3 athletics? Ooh, Vicious Companion. Trains the ranger's animal companion, vicious attacks, causing it to deal more damage with each hit. Accurate moving shot. It's 3 damage reduction for the pet. Animal companions do small amounts of sneak attack damage against targets they qualify. Interesting. I think I want to go with Vicious Companion first. And then we'll go with Merciless later. Whoa, Eatmok's HP. Oh, because
Yes?
Eatmok was fatigued. Forgot about that. Okay, so pump up his athletics, and now he'll actually be able to do something useful. My son, do you see your sisters across the moor? Summons 2 will-o-wisps. Amasses stray soul fragments to form 2 will-o-wisps to fight for your party. Requires 4 phrases chanted. Interesting. Causes enemies in the area effectively terrified. Increases the duration. Decreases the duration and defends against hobbled, stuck, paralyzed, and petrified. Charms enemies. Paralyzes enemies in the area of effect. Conjures 3 worms? Jesus, this is amazing. Interesting. Cool. So I think we're actually going to get this. Gurnisk slew the beast, but soon faced its kin. Worms use ranged attacks. So that will be really powerful for me, because I'll be able to summon those, and then those will just deal extra damage. So, here's the Chanter's connection. This increases healing capability. We don't really need that. Just gives him a bonus with quarter saves. This would give him a bonus with quarter saves. So, where's Sanctifier? Actually, two-handed style gives a 15% bonus to two-hand damage. This is probably a good idea to get, because he's wielding a two-handed weapon. I think that this is going to be more effective for him than getting a weapon style that increases his accuracy, because it's a 15% increase, and I don't think that 6 accuracy is worth. I mean, actually, his accuracy is pretty terrible, so it might have been worth it, but probably not, especially since I can cast Blessings. Now, I'm going to edit my chance. Okay. March of the Kamoa. so let's save the game. Who are we dealing with here?
Right
Just
away.
cigars. If it were up to me, I'd burn the district. We
Eh?
lost too many in there.
Welcome.
Whoops. Sorry, but the district's closed by the order of the Duke himself. Look, even if we're allowed to tell you, I don't rightly know. All I can say is, whatever it is started to about 2 months ago. Jesus, time ago. Guards that closed the gate talked of something unnatural that still wakes them in the middle of the night. I don't want to know any more than that. How do I get in? Trust me, you don't want to. But if you're really set on seeing this for yourself, I suppose you'd have to get permission from Wylet, the Keep of First Fires. Alright.
Hmm.
Let's go to Brackenbury, I think. Let's go to Brackenbury first. I really wish that I'd gotten that tutorial earlier in the game.
The life of a traveler. So many ruins to uncover, places to see.
Indeed. Though after 5 years, I'll be ready for a break.
It is true. You have been at it far longer than I. Where will you go next, when you have all the world to choose from?
Home, of course.
Gods keep you.
Woman stands in the shade of the garden muttering to herself. She's fixated on the pages of a large and well-worn tome, seemingly oblivious to the blooming flowers and the cool, fragrant breeze. She only looks up when your shadow crosses her page. It's kind of dark. Do you mind? I'm rather busy. Well, with what? I'm studying soul attachment. We all know that souls move into people at birth and out of them at death, but we still have a lot of questions about what makes them stick, so to speak. Souls power bodies and give their tissues life, but only when they're firmly attached. It's separation that leads to a whole spate of soul-related ailments, including the Hollowborn. But if we understood how to reattach souls, we could end Waidwin's legacy, maybe even conquer death. That's a theory, anyway. Unfortunately, I don't have all the research I need to put it into practice. Code number 1. There's a manuscript called The Theorems of Pangrim. It contains research from Pangrim's experiments with detached souls. The Hall of Revealed Mysteries is rumored to have a copy in the Elder Archives. Pangrim's work is considered to be one of the more daring Animancy texts, not something generally circulated among novices, nor easy to get a hold of. I wonder if we might have a peek at it. The theorems could advance my research by leaps and bounds, but Grimda, the High Archivist, worships whale, which means she has some paradoxical views on sharing and restricting knowledge, and since she's not exactly a proponent of animancy, she tends to restrict the kinds of information that would be useful to me. I'm gonna go with number 3. You're welcome to try, but you wouldn't be the first. Look at me spelling my troubles. It's kind of you to listen, but I should really get back to work. Anything else? I'm an animancer at the Sanitarium. Currently I'm researching matters related to Wayward's legacy. What? That is the stupidest... You can't possibly have gotten this far in the game without figuring out what Wayward's legacy is. Tell me about this. Whoa, Pangrim was an animancer working in the Deerwood. He had some interesting theories about essence and some rather innovative techniques for studying it. He was able to reattach souls to bodies after death, though he wasn't able to prevent his patients from degenerating. He was controversial to say the least, but many are starting to realize that he was merely ahead of his time. So what does that mean? Well, there seems to be a tiny problem with reattaching souls after death. The bodies, while reanimated, may even retain memories and personality, but they develop a hunger for flesh. Living, soul-infused flesh. Without it, they start to devolve, decaying mentally and physically. If the process goes too far, which it eventually does, they become mindless corpses attacking anything that moves. We haven't figured out a way to avoid that. Sounds dangerous. Of course it is, but every great discovery carries years of trial and error. This is why we need to research the research of people like Pangrim to help us turn these failures into something useful. Interesting. So that's all I need to know.
Hmm.
I don't think that we need to do that. So let's see. Cadron House. Charred Barrel, Copperland. Did we have a quest done? Oh right, so this woman was in the dormitory with the other scriveners, so let's go over to Copperlane and start doing this. Then I'll come back to doing all these other things. We actually only have 4 minutes left in this video, so it'd be nice to make a little bit of progress at least. So this should actually help my damage output a lot. 20% increase in damage is pretty substantial. Tombstone icon. So Corrin here should be able to tell us about this other woman.
Good day to you.
Looking for Viana. I like Viana. She's always talking about metal men, which is strange since I'm pretty sure she doesn't eat snowcap. I don't talk about metal men either, and I do eat snowcap, huh? Anyway, she's not here right now. Flew away to Andra's Gift to meet her friend Bessia. No, Klesia. Yes, Klesia. Klesia is the friend she's gone to meet. In Andra's Gift. In a house, not on a boat. North house, empty house. Andra's Gift has a lot of boats. We should go rowing sometime.
Hmm.
Okay, so I think we're going to Andra's Gift. That guy is so messed up. But before we do that, we are going to go back to the place that we were just at, because it's on the way, basically. Is it? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, we'll go to Brackenbury first. We'll clear out this area, and then we'll head to the other place. Once we've done that, we've done these 2 areas completely, then we'll go to Heritage Hill. We'll get our permission however we can. So there's the Charred Barrel, there's Raymond. Oh, the Raymond dude! I'm gonna talk to this guy, because we killed those guys who were gonna break into his house. He's avoiding eye contact. Those are perfectly angled outward, boast an array of vintages, however they're all coated in dust. I'm going to talk to Lynette here. Father never reads to me, he's always busy with his own books. Interesting. So I'm going to talk to Lord Raymond. Ledger lists quantities of wheat, copper, and weir wool. Deep crease along the spine suggests the book never closes, probably.
Hail and well met.
Lord Raymond holds a shipping manifest in his well-manicured hands. Despite his expensive clothes, he has a sallow complexion and restless air of a man who devotes all of his days and most of his nights to work. If you have business to discuss, make an appointment with my attendant. I don't have time for unexpected visitors. I'm going to go with number 2. Okay, well, where is your attendant? I don't see an attendant. So we're going to talk to him again. He lowers his papers to look at you for the first time. Is that so? Let me see that. When he returns his attention to you, his tone is brisk and businesslike. You've done this house and the city a great service. I'm certain you will consider this an adequate reward for your labors. I'm gonna go with number 3. The Heart of the White March is nearly flawless diamond. It's also the patrimony of the dwarves of the White March. It was seized by an Aedirian lord in the early days of colonizations that the dwarves haven't forgotten it. Now the knights and the dozens are both bidding for it to make a peace offering to the dwarves. Whichever party buys it, the dwarves will make useful allies for Defiance Bay, especially these days. So... interesting. So what are you going to do? Eliminate the competition. Interesting. I suspect it means Abrakan Dominal, scion of House Dominal. A pandered lad if ever there was one. He's ruthless, I'll give him that much. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the wits to match his appetites. Interesting. They were once an eminent and admired house, now they're just a den of thieves. Back in Deerwood's colonial days, the Dominals were respected members of the ducal's court, which is why it's so surprising that they remained loyal to the Aedir during the Hadrit's rebellion. When Hadrid and Deerwood won independence, the Dominals lost their favor but not their wealth. Rather than return to Aedir like the other loyalist houses, they dug their heels in here and turned from politics to commerce. In one way of looking at it, they simply partnered with the wrong side. Not that they haven't prospered since in their own way. Lately they've been seeking to carve out a new niche for themselves, one right between the Crucible Knights and the Dozens, it seems. Interesting. So, okay. We did that. Taxes collected. We lost a bunch to bandits. We have an average adventure. Expires in 2 days. Okay, well let's just keep assigning him to stuff. So this finishes on turn 13. We still have to build Bailey. I'm gonna hire this guy. Ward of the Wilds and the Skirmish Archer. Alright, so we're gonna hire those two. I'm hoping that they'll now get paid out of my taxes that I take or something. So we now have 19 security, which will hopefully be... So we gained reputation with Twin Elms, and got a Ring of Unshackling. I lost reputation with House Dominal, and gained reputation with Twin Elms. Interesting. So where's this ring? Grant Suppress Affliction. Rings can feature... So does this mean that she can now cast 2 per rest? Combat only. Stifles detrimental conditions through sheer force of will, temporarily suspending hostile status effects on allies in the area of effect.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Let's save this. Yeah, those guys were definitely hiring thugs. So I think that we made the right choice here. Because the guys who were in charge of pulling off the whole thing would just attacked us on sight. Did I? Oh, I'm sorry guys. We're out of time. So, that's gonna be it for today, folks. I'll see you guys next time.